a public parking lot. Maybe informally there is, other than, I guess, the villages here, but nothing that's directly tied to the downtown. And there are lots that are close to downtown right now that are either roped off or not roped off. It depends on what time of the year it is, it seems. But there are opportunities to capitalize on some available land adjacent to the downtown, and we identify some of those issues or some of those recommendations. So you have centralized parking lot. There's a cash or a fee in lieu for parking. So those are the kind of programs you can put in place. So maybe a business doesn't have to pay for their parking lot on their lot, but they got to pay into a fund that'll ultimately pay for a city or a village parking lot. And then encouraging employees not to park in front of their business or in front of their services. This is one of those things where it always surprises us as we come into a community that it does happen. A lot of times people complain about not having access to parking, and 3 of the people that work in that business are parked out front of that business. So just something to encourage businesses to be more mindful about where they're parking and providing better access for them to lots that right now aren't available. We provide some parking lot design, signage, and enforcement recommendations. So those are things pretty detailed. The last piece is the streetscape and beautification. And in this section, we talk about streetscapes, gateways, wayfinding, public art, site furnishing, basically anything you can do to beautify that public realm. So what can happen within the right-of-way and maybe some of the adjacent parcels to make this space a more unified look, accentuate what the commercial areas in Peoria Heights want to look like as opposed to maybe some of the surrounding areas. And moving forward, maybe what some of that prioritization needs to be. So we identify some key gateways, which are those big, the purple circles, identify where something prominent needs to be there, more so than what might already be there now. Something that really announces the fact that you're not only in Peoria Heights, but maybe you're in the Peoria Heights, downtown district, or whatever that is, whatever story you want to make sure people, as they're traveling through these corridors, they know what you're about. Right now, that might be lost. Maybe on War Memorial, it is a commercial-centric corridor, and you're not necessarily concerned that you're telling the story of Peoria Heights. But as you start to transition in Prospect Road, that might be something you want to consider. We identify some locations for potential public art. Some ideal ones would be anywhere where you have visibility off of the Greenway, areas where you think pedestrians are going to be walking more so than maybe driving. There's an opportunity to stop, see it, take it in, take photos, things like that. And then some of the gateway or some of the streetscape improvements. So each one of these corridors would really require a different varying level type of streetscape. Maybe some need a parkway, which I think we show some graphics. This is nearly impossible for the audience to read. But if you're able to kind of walk up, and we have boards up here that show these, you can see some might have a parkway, so you might be able to do some lawn areas with the landscape treatment between a sidewalk and the edge of pavement, the road. In other areas, you just don't have enough space, so it's what's considered it's called a carriage walk. Might be a wider sidewalk slightly, maybe you get a tree grate in there, some kind of planter or something. So there's a lot of different options, but the important thing is that you move forward, you start to come with united themes. So how do the site furnishings all play well with one another? What's that palette look like? What kind of species of trees and vegetation should we be using? How do we start to upgrade or improve or enhance some of our lighting? So if it's pedestrian lighting or street lighting. So we provide several concepts throughout this for gateways, wayfinding, signage, and you start to establish a program that says these are the things that we want to improve. Now we got to make sure they all look the same so it doesn't look like this hodgepodge of a design. One of the concepts that we put together was this Marietta Avenue and Atlantic Avenue visualization. And what we were showing here is just some of the improvements that could be made both to just enhancing the parking lot. So just by updating or maybe revising some of the parking standards or the landscape standards and requiring things like parking lot islands or screening of parking lots from the public realm, installing more parkway trees, providing what are like bump outs or bump ins, something that would allow a shorter pedestrian walk as you're crossing the street, all these different things, and you start to get this much better image of a building that right now it's a very large building, it stands out. What could be done to kind of soften that view? So this is just a view, as I'm looking from the south north up towards the building, you can see how that could start to soften over time with landscaping, just improved screening and parking lot improvements. And then, like I said, we talk about gateways, residential screening, which is really important when you think about all these commercial corridors are butting up against residential districts. So what kind of screening should we be providing? Are they fences, vegetation, utility and trash screening? The last thing a homeowner wants to see is an overlook of, a trash receptacle or a dumpster, or HVAC systems, things like that. Whatever you could do to offset or minimize those kind of negative impacts on the residential neighborhood. Some infrastructure improvements, overhead utilities, stormwater management. Like I said, we talked about this kind of unified package of site furnishing, public art, lighting, improving some of the bus stops. There are some bus stops that have shelters that could be a more aesthetic or aesthetically pleasing design. You could do something to make it something special to Peoria Heights. And then one of the most important things is when you put these kind of landscape improvements in on a corridor, be it the streetscape or the parking lots, a maintenance program, making sure that these beautiful trees don't go in and then 2 years later you're cutting them down because they weren't maintained or they weren't they weren't watered, there weren't programs in place that made sure that things were cleared away when they needed to be. So that's something else that we provide recommendations for. The last piece is the one section that we're still really trying to vet out, and it's based on the comments that we would receive tonight, what we hear from the village over time, and then making those changes moving forward. So we talk about the administration and follow-up, which is extremely important. It's one thing to have this plan. It's another thing to use it as a tool moving forward to inform your planning process. So you as a board, you as a village, as you start to make recommendations, or somebody comes in and they want to do a development or they want to invest in a parcel, you have a plan that says this is what we want to try to accomplish on these corridors. So it just talks about checking in with the plan, making sure that you're doing updates as needed. Things change in 2 years. You might have different priorities. This plan can change. It can evolve. It's not static. It doesn't have to sit on a shelf. We're all digital now, so it's a very easy thing to change. We talk about some development tools. What are some of the incentive programs that are out there? What are some of the potential funding sources? Those are things that are talked about in this section. And then facilitating development opportunities. So that's something that we're still fleshing out. How do you get people interested in developing specific uses that maybe traditionally haven't been here, but over time it's what you want to see in the community. So not only does the plan sort of outline what the expectations are and what you want it to look like, but this section can talk about what steps the village can take when they start to approach developers or investors on what their expectations are. And then the last piece are the potential zoning code modifications, which will really base those off of the recommendations that we received throughout this process, or the changes. Once all the recommendations are kind of locked in and we know this is what we want the plan to say, we'll be able to provide, hey, I think the zoning code needs to say this, or you need to modify this piece. And it's not a full audit, but it's just enough to get you started, so these are small changes you can make tomorrow. And then the last piece is that facilitating development and implementation matrix. That implementation matrix is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of this document. And essentially what it is it takes all the recommendations from the plan and it creates an actionable item to each recommendation, and it becomes your checklist. So it's 6 pages at the end of this document. That's a checklist, and every time you guys get together to meet, or as new developments are coming online, have we done this? Did we do the streetscape plan for Prospect Road? That was something we wanted to do in the first couple of years. Have we been reaching out to the development community? Have we been working with local businesses? It says all that in actionable items, gives you kind of that priority of what you should focus on, and it really summarizes the plan and makes it easy for you to check off what you're doing and what you need to focus on in the next couple months. So with that, I know that was a lot of information. I might have spoke a little too quick there. If you have any questions, we're here. We can talk to the boards. I can answer questions directly. I just want to emphasize that it is a draft plan, so we're looking for comments. We know things can change, and with that, I'm good.
Any questions at all for Nick? All right, thank you, Nick.
Thorough. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Nick. I do want you to know, though, we do have a public parking lot. On Duryea.
Oh, I must have missed that. I apologize.
It's only 23, it's only 23 spots.
That's the point, right there. Yeah, that's the rub.
It's in the plan.
Okay.
It is. I saw it in there. Yeah.
We got 3% of the plan already done. All right. Well, thanks again, Nick. We appreciate all your hard work and coming here tonight. No old business tonight, so we'll go to new business. And first will be the approval of the use of Tower Park for Peoria Heights Congregational Church, and that will be presented by Trustee Carter.
Thank you. I make a motion for the use of Tower Park from the Peoria Heights Congregational Church for their concert on Saturday, August 27th, and it will start at 5 p.m.
I have a motion from Trustee Carter.
Second.
Second from Trustee Harn. Any questions or comments from the board before the board votes? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of the use of Tower Park for the Peoria Heights Congregational Church concert on Saturday, August 27th, as outlined by Trustee Carter. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The ayes have it. Board has approved the use of Tower Park for the Peoria Heights Congregational Church concert on Saturday, August 27th. Next order of new business tonight is an authorization to go out for bids regarding a Public Works maintenance garage, and that will be presented by Trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I'm going to make a motion, we approve going out for bid for a new building down on Cox. Just want to make it clear, we do plan to continue using the building we're in now. This new building is really just to kind of catch some of the overflow from the building we're using. Also, it'll provide a shop where the guys can go in and work on things. Kyle will draw a set of specifications for the new building and submit those, so everybody will be bidding on the same thing. And we talked about it, it's been so long ago, I can't remember exactly how big the building was or anything, but I make a motion, we approve going out for bid.
Okay, have a motion from Trustee Harn.
Second.
Second from Trustee Cumming. Are there any questions or comments from the board before the board votes?
This is just for bid, it's not for an actual...
Right, it's just to go out for bid, and then the board can review what the bids are.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was clear as well. I mean, this is really just kind of a fact-finding mission. We, I know at budget time, we discussed a number, we put that number in the budget, but until we get some real world quotes, we really don't know where we're at. So.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of the authorization for the village to go out for bids regarding the construction of a Public Works maintenance garage as outlined by Trustee Harn. Mr. Administrator, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Trustee Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Cumming.
Aye. Okay, thank you. By a vote of 4-0, the board has approved going out for bids regarding the construction of a Public Works maintenance garage as outlined by Trustee Harn. Our next order of new business tonight is a consideration of ordinance 2016-1418, which will be presented by Trustee Cumming.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. At this time, I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2016-1480, which authorizes the administration to borrow $600,500 from Morton Community Bank for the purchase and improvements of the Gray Boy facilities located at 4414 to 4426 Prospect Road here in the village. And to give you a breakdown of that $600,500, $345K of that would be going to purchase the building itself. We've already put down a deposit of $5,000 on that. The random $500 is to cover closing costs associated with the note, which would leave us a grand total of $259,500 left for potential demolition and improvements on the property itself. It's a 5-year note at 2.52%. Those 5 years, the first year would be prepayment of the interest on the note. Years 2 through 4 would be monthly payments, and then there would be a balloon payment in year 5.
All right, we have a motion from Trustee Cumming.
Second.
Second from Trustee Harn. Are there any questions or comments from the board before the board votes? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of ordinance 2016-1480, as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Mr. Administrator, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Trustee Mariscal.
Nay.
Trustee Cumming.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 3-1, the board has approved ordinance 2016-1480. regarding the property at 4414 to 4426 Prospect Road, as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Next order of new business tonight is ordinance 2016-1481. That will be presented by Trustee Cumming.
Thank you once again, Mayor Allen. Before I present this ordinance, I would just like to say how humorous I found it that someone named Bart, whose nickname in college was Bartleby, would be presenting an ordinance that regards a Scrivener's error. I'm sure that Herman Melville would be pleased with the reference tonight. But with that said, I make an ordinance that we approve, make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2016-1481, which really what this is going to do, it's going to amend the legal description of the parcels that are in the special service area. Number one, the original draft of the SSA did include a parcel which is just basically an alley, a strip of land that the village will own with the Gray Boy purchase, correct? And that should not have been included in the original draft of the SSA.
Okay. I have a motion from Trustee Cumming. Second. Second from Trustee Mariscal. Are there any questions or comments from the board before the board votes?
Yes, I do have a question. So it's to not include the alley, is that what you said, Frank?
Right. The original description, legal description that was written up included a small parcel that is actually not part of the current development at the Rouse Hazard Building, the Trefskers development. It is actually a little strip of alleyway behind the Subway sandwich shop. And you know, so we wouldn't be able to collect any monies for the SSA from that vacant little strip of land.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of ordinance 2016-1481 as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Mr. Administrator, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn. Aye. Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Trustee Mariscal. Aye. Trustee Cumming.
Aye.
Okay, thank you by a vote of 4. Oh,
Mayor Allen.
aye. Thank you. Well, that's a rarity. I should have voted no just because. But I like this ordinance, so I couldn't vote against it. By a vote of 4-0, the board has approved ordinance 2016-1481 as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Our next order of business tonight is the treasurer's report, which will be read by our village administrator, Matthew Fick.
This is the Treasury Report for the month of June 2016, submitted by Treasurer Stephanie Turner. General fund balance, $753,799.95. Motor fuel, $178,040.06. Police truck savings, $555,000.70. Tax increment finance, $72,491.15. Healthcare flex spending, $16,018.12. Bond project, $863.29 for a grand total village accounts of $1,021,768.27. The waterworks account, I have a balance of $451,613.59. The infrastructure maintenance fee balance is $34,639.83. Service deposits, $88,642.68. Grant funds, $1,013.38. Grand total in the waterworks accounts, $575,909.48.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments regarding the treasurer's report? All right, then we will accept it as read. We'll next be asking the board to retire into executive session regarding personnel and property. Excuse me. Prior to that, I want to let everyone know the next departmental committee meeting will be held Wednesday, July 27th at 6:30 p.m. And the next Board of Trustees meeting will be held Tuesday, August 2nd at 6:30 p.m. I'm asking the board now to make a motion for the board to go into executive session regarding personnel and property.
So moved.
Motion from Trustee Cumming. Second. Second from Trustee Mariscal. All those in favor of the board going into executive session at this time regarding personnel and property, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. Board will now go into executive session regarding personnel and property. You're more than welcome to stay throughout that, but all we will be doing after that is completed is coming down to adjourn the meeting. We thank everyone for attending, and we will now go into executive session.